Dipti Alon is here for a look through the international papers. Hello to you, Dipti.
Hi, Rochelle.
Let's turn our attention firstly to Ilhan Omar. She's a US Democrat representative, and she's caused something of a storm recently over her comments about Israel.
That's right. She was one of the breakout stars of the US midterms for the Democrats. Ilhan Omar, one of the first black Muslim American women to win a seat in the House of Representatives. She's come under fire for using heated language on Israel. About a month ago, she appeared to correlate pro-Israel sentiment to the financial clout of the pro-Israel lobby. Then more recently, last week, she appeared to make what some are calling anti-Semitic comments about Jewish attachments to Israel being stronger than or making them disloyal to the US. Now, Vox is a really good explainer of the whole controversy. It's very comprehensive, so you can take a look at that. But it's suffice to say her comments have become problematic for the House Democrats, at least from a PR perspective, so much so that yesterday they met to draft or look at drafting a text that condemns anti-Semitism and other forms of bigotry.
All right, well, what kind of reactions have you found to that online?
Well, very divided along the political spectrum. The Washington Examiner, that's a conservative U.S. website, they accuse the Democrats of normalizing anti-Semitism by continuing to defend Ilhan Omar and her comments. The Guardian's writer, though, defends her, saying that her criticism of U.S. support for the Israeli government's policies might make people uncomfortable, but it doesn't make it anti-Semitic. And in fact, a group of prominent Jewish personalities have even penned an open letter supporting Ilhan Omar, saying, I quote, genuine anti-Semitism and white supremacy are growing concerns in Donald Trump's America.
All right, well, let's stay in the US. An Alabama judge has allowed a man to sue an abortion clinic for the wrongful death, that on behalf of his girlfriend's aborted fetus.
That's right. In fact, the aborted fetus will be a co-plaintiff in this lawsuit, which is why it's so unprecedented. It's one of the first in Alabama's legal history. The fetus is being called Baby Roe, and it will be a co-plaintiff with what should have been the father, Ryan Magers. Now, Magers says he pleaded with his girlfriend back in 2017 to keep her baby, but she went ahead with the abortion. He and the fetus that now has legal recognition are suing the abortion clinic for wrongful death. Now, the woman's family says the pregnancy happened when she was still in high school. He was still a teenager, unemployed, so it wasn't feasible for her to raise a child. And one women's rights activist has tweeted that it's 2019 and a man and an aborted fetus are suing a clinic. What about the woman? Where are her rights in all of this? And also highlighting that by giving a fetus rights, we're essentially relegating a woman to a walking incubator.
All right, well, let's move away from the US to Brazil. President Jair Bolsonaro has found himself in hot water because of tweeting a lewd incident that happened on the sidelines of the carnival.
That's right. That incident allegedly happening in Sao Paulo, in which you see two individuals engaging in a golden shower, as BuzzFeed notes. The lewd video was retweeted by the president of Brazil, Jair Bolsonaro, as a way of discrediting the carnival and what he says was exposing the realities of what carnival really is. It's drawn a huge backlash because witnesses say it was an isolated incident in what's an otherwise orderly celebration of diversity and difference, a long-standing tradition in Brazil, the carnival is. For O Globo, the Brazilian daily, his retweet could even have legal repercussions. According to one lawyer, retweeting that video amounts to a breach of decorum, which could be possibly grounds for requesting an impeachment against Jair Bolsonaro. I quote this article saying it was one of the most violent attacks a head of state has ever made to public morality.
All right, well, let's move forward to sports now. The sports pages, of course, can only talk about one thing: Paris Saint-Germain crashing out of the Champions League.
Yeah, devastation for PSG fans. Joy for the haters. It depends on which side of that football match you were. Paris Saint-Germain was knocked out of the Champions League, losing 1-3 to Manchester United in Paris yesterday. For the French sports paper L'Equipe, it's a bitter reminder of 2017 when PSG was eliminated from the Champions League after a 6-1 thumping by Barcelona on the return match. Yesterday's loss, though, for this paper was even worse. while Le Parisien, or as it's known around France, Aujourd'hui en France, yesterday's loss was unforgivable and confirms, I quote, that PSG is cursed. It's a black club that's capable of self-sabotage despite being in a class of its own. As you can imagine, the British papers are gleeful and quite mocking in their coverage today. The Mira the sports pages of the Daily Mirror, paying homage to Marcus Rashford, the one who netted that final fatal third goal. He's
94th minute.
Well, there you go, 94th minute. He's a marque de triomphe, the Mirror Sport says.
All right, well, let's end with a stray dog, who tagged along on a climbing expedition trip to the Himalayas and may have set a new canine record.
Her name is Mira, as she's been dubbed by Don Wargowski and his climbing team's expedition. They led this adventure to Mira Peak and Burunsi in the Himalayas last year. And the stray just sort of joined them at the base camp of the Mira Peak, around 17,500 feet. And then she just stuck with the group all the way up to the peak at 23,389 feet. That's roughly 7,000 meters. She slept in a tent with them. She ate some of their food. She also led the ultimate journey up to the peak. It's now believed that as a result, she might have well been the first dog to ever climb that high of an altitude, or at least any kind of peak in the Himalayas.
There'll certainly be a canine trying to take that record from her in the next year or so, I would say. Dipti, thank you very much for the roundup there of the papers. To our viewers, if you do want to see more of our press review, don't forget you can always log on to our website at france24.com.